Welcome back to Peru. If you thought the first 2 days were incredible, buckle up. Today we are deep diving into the ancient capital of the Inca Empire, Cusco. Exploring everything from hidden cobblestone alley to golden temples, and tomorrow we are testing our lungs at over 16,000 feet on the famous Vinicunca Rainbow Mountain tour. But let's be real for a second. Traveling at this altitude is no joke, and today I had to make a tough call to skip a major Inca ruins because my body just say no. More on that in a minute. Let's start with day 3. We started our morning bright and early to catch the street before the crowd arrived. First stop, Calle Siete Borreguitos. This is easily one of the most Pinterest, Instagram-worthy alley in all of Cusco. The name literally translates to 7 little lambs, and walking down it feels like stepping into a postcard.
Oh, there we go. Oh my god. So hyper. So hyper.
Right at the end of the alley, you hit a true hidden gem, the Serpentina Aqueduct. It's a colonial-era stone structure built over an ancient Inca waterway. The way the water trickles down the stone steps in the middle of the city is incredibly peaceful. Next up, we made our way to the Mirador de San Cristobal. This spot is incredibly special because it gives you a sweeping panoramic view of the entire city of Cusco. If you manage to snag one of the stone seats along the edge, you get a perfect, unobstructed view looking right down into the bustling Plaza de Armas below. Now, right above the viewpoint is Sacsayhuaman, the massive Inca fortress. The original plan was to hike up and explore it, but honestly, the steep hills and the 11,000-foot altitude caught up to me. Instead of forcing the hike, I headed down the heart of the city, the Cusco Plaza de Armas. The energy here is unmatched, surrounded by colonial architecture built directly on top of ancient Inca palace. After this, we headed to Mercado Central de San Pedro. This place is a sensory overload in the best way possible. From fresh fruit juices to traditional soup and local craft, it's a must visit to see local life in action. We wrap up day 3 at one of the most historically fascinating places in Peru, Coricancha. This was once the most important temple in the Inca Empire. Literally covered in sheets of solid gold, when the Spanish arrived, they built the church and convent of Santo Domingo directly on top of it. So I heard Coricancha translate from Quechua to Golden Courtyard. In the Inca timeline, this wasn't just a temple, it was the literally center of their universe, dedicated to Inti, the son of God. Walking inside today is wild. To think that they were violently stripped of their gold and used as a mere foundation, seeing the white plaster arches of the Spanish convent built directly on top of these conquer stones is a beautifully surreal, bittersweet look at how one civilization physically layers itself over another. Day 4 started in the pitch black. To do the Vinicunca Rainbow Mountain tour, you have to brace yourself for a brutal early morning pickup and a 3-hour drive deep into the Andes. Before you start the trek, the tour includes a stop for a much-needed breakfast to fuel up for what's ahead. And here's a major pro tip. If you ever do this trip, use the toilet at the breakfast lodge. Do not skip this step. There are essentially no restrooms up in the mountain. You might find a makeshift toilet at the very beginning of the trail, but you have to pay a few soles to use it. And let's just say it is not in a sanitary or decent condition. Trust me on this one. Logistics matter when you're headed to remote peaks. When we have finally arrived at the starting point, the sheer scale of the landscape immediately takes your breath away. Like literally, because you are already starting at around 15,000 feet above sea level. Because I knew my body was still adapting to the altitude, I decided to save my lungs and rent a horse for the trek up. And honestly, it was the best decision I could have made. The ride up was incredibly scenic. As the horse steadily climbed higher, the world opened up around us. Everywhere you look, herds of alpacas and llamas, the vibrant green slopes racing peacefully against a backdrop of towering snow-capped peaks. It feels completely untouched by the modern world. What makes the journey so grounding though are the local people. They walk side by side with the horses, navigating these deep rocky paths with an effortless grace. This put to every tourist to shame. They are dressed in their stunning traditional clothing, vibrant hand-woven ponchos, beautifully patterned skirts, and wide brim hats that protect them from the harsh Andean sun and wind. What's fascinating is that this tourist boom is actually very new. For generations, the communities out here live in extreme isolation, relying solely on alpaca herding and small-scale farming in a very unforgiving climate. But a few years ago, early hikers discovered these painted ridges, posted them online, and the world took notice. Thanks to those early explorers who made this place famous, the Peruvian government and local communities built a brand new road that allowed bus access directly to the valley. Before the road existed, reaching Rainbow Mountain required a grueling multi-day trek through the wilderness. Now it's accessible in a single day. Because of this, the local people are aggressively taking advantage of this new source of income to provide a better life to their families. Renting a horse, selling snacks at the trailhead, or sharing their culture isn't just a tourist gimmick, it's a lifeline that has completely transformed the economy of this high-altitude village. As we edged closer to the final viewpoint, the weather began to shift. Now, because we traveled during the wet season, it was incredibly cloudy when we finally reached the summit. On a standard summer day, you get dry dirt and clear skies, but visiting in the wet season actually gifted us a view that most tourists never get to experience.
Amazing. 1 hour 15 left. We made it by horse. We made it to the top
We're helping the community.
via horseback.
The horse. Even though the horse saves you a lot of effort hiking up, it doesn't take you all the way to the summit. So you have to get off the horse and hike up the final part of the trail to reach to the very top. The time we visited Vinicunca, it was the wet season, so it was incredibly cloudy when we reached the summit. So we just stood there, waiting for the wind to blow the clouds and disperse the view. Look at this. Because of the recent weather, the mountain was split in two. One half was dusted in pure pristine white snow, while the other half proudly displayed all its vibrant strip mineral colors. The contrast was absolutely unreal, a dramatic, moody masterpiece of nature.
Beautiful. You're walking with the alpaca.
Standing at the top, looking out at the surrounding landscape, it felt like looking at the Swiss Alps. but on an entirely different scale. Jagged, imposing peaks stretch out into the misty horizon wrapped in clouds and ice. Now, when you get to the top, there is an optional extension tour to the Red Valley, which looks like the surface of Mars. But just like yesterday in Cusco, my body was stunned. Standing over 16,000 feet in the freezing cold takes everything out of you. We made the executive decision to skip the Red Valley and head straight back down. And thank goodness we did, because the mountain was about to show us its wild side.
At least it's not rain, but the exhaling so hard is hitting me. Oh wow, it's hailing. We got the complete experience, darling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you saw that right. For the return journey, the nature absolutely unleashed on us. It started raining, then a massive hailing storm rolling out of nowhere. We were caught in a brutal session where literally rocky ice pellets were hitting us right in the face. And the next moment it was super
Warm.
sunny, which actually helped us because the temperature
The storm
plummeted
has
instantly. The wind picked up, creating a sudden freezing windshield that numbed our fingers and face within minutes. Every step down became an adrenaline-pumping battle against the elements. It was chaotic, a humbling reminder of how unpredictable and powerful the Andes can be. So, what is the final verdict on visiting Vinicunca during the wet season? The pros: you get fewer crowds, sweeping alpine scenery that looks like the Swiss Alps, and unique, dramatic view of the mountain half covered in snow and half in color. The cons: the weather can turn violent in seconds, you risk getting caught in freezing hailstorms, and you do miss out on some of the regional highlights, like the famous Marat salt mines, which don't look nearly as clean or vibrant when the heavy rains hit them. Was the hiking in this altitude, freezing hail, and headed worth it for that snowy rainbow view? 100% yes. It's an adventure I will never forget. Two completely different days, one exploring the historic cozy corners of Cusco and one surviving the elements in the high Andes. Peru just keeps getting better. If you enjoyed this wild ride through day 3 and 4, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe so don't miss the rest of the journey, and drop a comment below. Would you have taken the horse or braved the hike on foot? Also, would you have skipped Sacsayhuaman or would you have pushed through it? See you on the next video.